So remember this. This is the woke face of Hollywood that they love to sell. You know, the one that they want to talk down to you with versus the reality that we'll talk about in just a minute.
We send a very clear message to people of color that you're not welcome here. I think that it is the obligation of the people that have created and perpetuate and benefit from a system of oppression to be the ones that dismantle it. So that's on us.
Yeah, isn't it interesting why Hollywood is sitting around backpatting itself that 150,000 people are talking about walking away? And the allegations that they're throwing around, we're not talking about bad pay here. We're talking about denial of medical services, not allowing you to go out and get cancer treatment, or overworking people to the point that, well, they die, and then having a few moments of silence, and then overworking people some more. Yep, Hollywood, they love to tell you just how great they are. In fact, they love to tell you how much better they are than you while accepting award after award. But the reality is that most of these folks, they oppose basic workers' rights. And you know what? Hollywood is panicking right now because this right here, this could shut down every company within Hollywood. 150,000 people walking away. You and I, we're going to talk about that today, and I think this is hilarious and very much deserved. Bravo, Hollywood. Bravo indeed. Oh, man. So, hey there to all you fine folks. On this fine day, by the way, I hope you are doing excellently. And isn't it interesting? You hear how Hollywood loves to portray itself. It loves to talk about how woke it is. It loves to talk about how inclusive, how diverse, how it goes out and represents all of its workers. And yet, when you read stuff like this, it flies right into the face of all of that propaganda. Quote, a year after the beer bug shuttered the entertainment industry worldwide, the studios are churning out content at a breakneck pace. Workers are in high demand, and it has been hard for some shows to find enough grips and set decorators to keep up. It's somewhat strange, then, to think that it all could come to a screeching halt. But this weekend, here's who's striking, by the way. This is part of it, anyhow. The International Association of Theatrical Stage Employees will hold a vote on whether to authorize a strike that would once again shut down the industry. The vote is expected to pass by an overwhelming margin. So just to make this clear, when we're talking about this strike and potentially shutting down Hollywood, we're not talking about a possibility. We're talking about a high probability. And yeah, right when you get things started, it would absolutely devastate the industry. And this might actually end companies. Again, this is the kind of game over scenario that should scare Hollywood, and yet they don't want to fix anything. Now, we're going to look at the demands here. And remember, Hollywood, they love to look down their noses. They love to act like they are better than everybody, like they treat everyone with dignity and respect. And yet, when you look under that soapbox, you know what you find? You find a lot of people that have been crushed by it. Listen to this here. Though money is definitely part of it, the primary issues related to workers' quality of life. The industry has long expected workers to put in 14-hour days during production, if not longer. So you go into work, you have to work for 14 hours plus. Hey, don't complain about that. That's just what you're going to deal with. Now, this also brings up something that I never really thought about before, and that's the shift to streaming and how basically you don't have breaks between production anymore. I mean, before you'd have a movie, you might have some downtime. At least you could recuperate. But with companies and streaming, yeah, you don't have that at all. Quote, the shift to streaming and the explosion of demand has only sped up the pace. Before, workers might have expected weeks of downtime between shows. Now they can jump from one show to the next. Workers complain of exhaustion, of being too tired to drive home safely. Now they talk about demands here. Included in the demands are 10-hour minimum turnaround. They want to be able to at least spend 8 hours at home, plus an hour each way to commute to the set. Now the unions are also seeking a minimum 54-hour turnaround on weekends. That would put an end to the dreaded Fratter days, a late Friday shift that ends on Saturday morning. They also want to dramatically increase meal penalties, which are the payments that productions are obligated to provide if workers do not get a meal break. So, think about that too. They can take away your meal break as long as they provide some type of money, and they get away for really pennies when you think about it. For many workers, a production will have to pay $8.50 for the first half hour without a meal, $11 for the second half hour, and then $13.50 for each half hour after that. Those payments can work out to hundreds of extra dollars a week, though at the cost of having to eat standing up or skipping meals entirely. Unions have suggested increasing those payments as much as threefold as a way of forcing studios to actually take the meal break rather than just budgeting around the penalties. Again, these are the people that love to look down their noses at you, saying that they treat their workers great, that basically we need to look at them and we need to model after them. Yeah, what exactly are you modeling? Now, as far as complaints are concerned, that is just the tip of the proverbial iceberg. There are much, much more of them. In fact, if you want to check some out, these are where the real stories are. And like I said, some of them are absolutely crazy. Like I was saying previously, you literally have complaints charted where people are being worked to death. You have the denial of essential medical services. You can see this right here. A friend had to leave a big film before they wrapped production because her boss wouldn't give her a week off for a mastectomy for her cancer. By the way, it takes more than a week to recover from a mastectomy, but it wasn't even discussed, just a firm no. Again, these are your betters in Hollywood, the people that love to step on that soapbox. Yeah, they step up there by stepping on the backs of their workers, apparently. Now, if the strike actually transpires, you are again talking about 150,000 people walking out of an already depleted workforce. Basically, everything would shut down. The crazy thing, though, some of the worst offenders out there, people like HBO, aka Warner, they think that they won't be impacted. Why? Because they came to these negotiations late in the game. They actually have some of their contracts that are standing for yet another year. And you know what? They get away with some of the worst things, and they pay the least amount. So, worst offenders paying the least amount of money. The problem is, though, that HBO Max is not immune to this stuff. You would be seeing the company that is screwed up time and again, taking it on the nose, just like the rest of Hollywood. Yeah, isn't that interesting? Again, those people thinking they're your betters, thinking they can make money hand over fist, going down and going down hard. But anyway, let me know what you think about this stuff. And as always, appreciate the heck out of you. You make this stuff work, so thank you. Want to help out with the channel too? There are links in the description. Definitely check those out. But you being here, that matters, so thank you. I appreciate you. And until next time, see you soon.